We as human beings put a lot of pressure on ourselves. When you look at social media and so-and-so just got a new job and they're so happy, or so-and-so is in this amazing relationship and they look so happy. Looking at social media to think everyone's got it figured out and everyone's happy, that's just not true. Everyone lives their entire life in between the little moments of happiness posted on social media. Although a lot of this stems from social media and external stimuli, this feeling of inadequacy and self-doubt doesn't actually come from outside. It comes from inside. Legendary psychologist Sigmund Freud has a theory about personality and how the brain works. He says that our personality is split into the id, the ego, and the superego.
Because the id is this place of compulsion and drive, and the ego has to basically suppress that in the service of the superego.
The id consists of our primal instincts and desires. The superego is your rules and regulations, your morals, things instilled by your parents and society. Now the ego is in the middle, looking at what the id really desires and what we think we should be doing based on our superego. This ego interaction between id and superego can feel really confusing. So you have two parts of your brain fighting each other over what they want to do. So your brain is constantly making decisions and reevaluating those decisions. This id-superego interaction can lead to a lot of indecision, doubt. The superego is also what I personally call the inner critic. This is the part of my brain that is really hypercritical of everything else that I do. What if that was wrong? What if I made the wrong decision? What if you didn't have your superego? You would impulsively do things that would ostracize you from society. So there is a use in having the superego around, or else you would just randomly run out of class for a hot dog every time you're hungry. When I'm having such a great inner conflict about making decisions, I take a lot of time to self-reflect, introspect, and really feel what those two sides are saying. Beyond those two sides, there is this sense of knowing. Behind all of these three things, there is a self. There is a self beyond personality that isn't really your brain. It's just kind of an awareness that is you. It's inner knowing and this inner awareness. I call this intuition, or your gut. If I make a decision based on impulse, or I make a decision based on overthinking, I feel uncertain after I make that decision. If I go back behind to my inner knowing, to my intuition, and I make a gut decision, that is what leads to less doubt. You're giving up control to what your inner knowing is telling you to do. Alan Watts says that when you give up control, you actually gain more control in your life.
In giving away the control, you got it. You got the kind of control you wanted. That's to say, where you had a loving relationship to the world, but you didn't have to make up your mind what it should do.
There's a very counterintuitive way to go through this process, but I've found to be the truth in my life. To be honest, I don't really know where that's taking me, or like where eventually I'll end up with that. I'm just trusting that inner intuition and giving up control to it to see where that's gonna take me. Because that's more aligned with who I am at my core. And that's okay. No one has to have anything figured out right now. The best way to start changing something, going in the right direction, is just becoming aware of your current situation, your current feelings. Trust the process, trust that intuition, look back into the inner knowing. Even if that might be really difficult to feel, you're not sure exactly what that's feeling like, just exploring that a little bit is enough to get started. Hit that subscribe button down below, hit that like button, get this video popped up into other people's screens. Let's figure this life shit out together.